Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me in my shop here on August 23rd. A gray, rainy, cool day here. Not going to be much sunshine today, I'm afraid. So, yesterday, in the last video, I was trying to adjust the IF transformers and get all that straightened away, and it seems to me there's some kind of anomalistic behavior inside the IF stages, or something's going on. So the way that I was approaching this is the same as what the instructions suggest, and that's to feed the test generator signal into the antenna. A lot of radios in the instructions for alignment will tell you to do it one stage at a time, not try to do both stages at once. And also not feed the signal in simply through the antenna, but to feed it into a tube grid more directly into the radio. I think I'm going to use this kind of technique to try to home in on what's up, or at least do this one stage at a time and maybe eliminate the anomalous behavior. So rather than feed the, where is that? Rather than feed the signal generators, two of them, into the antenna, I'm going to want to feed them into the grid of the IF amplifier tube. Grid of the IF amplifier tube. So if we take a look at this, we have the IF amplifier tube here. Okay. And grid G1 is right here. Okay, to feed that into a grid, to feed a signal into a grid without disturbing the radio too much, and to some degree the reason you're doing this is to avoid disturbing the radio, in fact. I'm going to use a capacitor here. Try that. Am I sure this is the grid? Not really. Not for absolutely sure. So I see the key here, and the key is right there. We're lining up. And we'll go G1, where are you? G1 is here. Yeah, it's got to be this. So we're going to put on the capacitor here. So we'll feed the signal. I'm going to start without the sweep. We're going to start with just the signal, can't speak, the single frequency signal generator. Okay, I'll leave it disconnected for now, and just move this out of the way so I don't get confused. I'm still reading the AVC voltage here, and we're ready to do that. Okay. Let's turn on the radio. You know, I'm thinking about this. Probably I should do this with the sweep, but let's start with the single frequency anyway. Here we go. Now I imagine without this connected, the radio is going to sound kind of normal, and when I connect it, the radio is going to go silent. That's my guess. 120 volts. Ooh, ooh. What happened there? This ground has come off. There. There we go. What happens when we connect. I've got to lower that signal strength there. Nothing at all happened. That's oh, I didn't figure on that. Nothing at all. Okay. Now, I'm going to watch this meter. It's not showing very much, is it? Yeah, it's still moving. Let's put it on 10. Okay, so we're going to vary this frequency and see what happens. Signal too low. Should be able to hear this. I'm not hearing it at all. Something, maybe I didn't get the grid. Maybe I did not connect to the grid. Got the right cable. Okay. Give it the full works here. Watch the meter here. Listen, there's two of these peaks. One and two. Let's see what we can do about this. So the only IF involved would be the second one. I think it's this one. Just getting my hand close to this antenna. There we go. Okay, the other. I don't like putting my hand on the radio. I'm going to have to. How do I do this? Okay, there we go. Nothing unusual about that. Let's put the sweep on and see what we can see. So if we did that, we take off this. And we'll put on the sweep generator. Sweep generator output signal is much less than the other. Oh, there we go. That's good. Mix in the other generator. Okay, checking now to see what frequency is right there. Something a little loose in my setup here. It's jumping around a bit. It's very hard for you to see it. I can see it though. Right there. Right on 455. I was watching the little bump here. Okay. Well, that's it for that. Nothing happened. So now we're just kind of going to feed the grid into the mixer tube. 12 SA7. Grid 2 and grid 1. Grid 1 is going to be the local oscillator. I'm pretty sure grid 2 is what we're really after. No, we're not. What have they done here? Grid 2 shows 95 volts on it. Grid 1. Grid 3. What's going on here? I'm going to look at the schematic. I bet we don't need to listen to this. Okay. Put the schematic on the screen and we'll take a look at where to connect where the best place is to connect the signal generator. We'll look at how the grid's related to the antenna, and is the antenna wire I connected to switched in and out from shortwave to broadcast? That's another interesting question. Let's look at all these. Okay, so I'm looking for this G. Here they label them as G and G oscillator. And see, this is pin number 8 here on this tube. So we know the pin number already. There is some switching going on here. The wire. Oh my! So if this is the wire where I'm connecting the signal generator, small capacitor, and right into this coil, into this transformer. The other side is grounded. There's no switch involved at all. So this lane, if you like, is active the entire time. Doesn't matter where the switch up here is flipped. Is that true? Wait a minute now. The output of this transformer is only making it when the switch is set to shortwave. So that might have been part of the problem here. Is I really didn't get a strong signal attachment sort of or into the radio here while the radio was switched to broadcast. And I don't think it said anywhere in the instructions about that, but I'm not going to look at them right now. Okay, but the main thing is we want to know this. It's pin number 8. I should be hooked up to pin number 8 on the 12 SA7. Okay, this is still on. Pin number 8. Pin number 8 on the 12 SA7. First of all, make sure I know the location of that tube. I don't get that wrong. 12 SA7. Right down here at the front of the radio. Very hard to get at or even see. Let's just turn off the power and take this off. So trying to spot pin 8 down here. There it is, pin 8. There's a green wire attached to it. The green wire goes to the switch. Well, that's going to be tricky connecting in there without causing a short. So now I'm going to feed the signal into the grid of the first mixer tube, the only mixer tube. And it'll go through both transformers. We know the second transformer is tuned up properly. If there's a problem, it's got to be from the first one. You can see the outline. Now, what was my concern about this? My concern was I could find more than one sort of resonant spot when I fed in test signals. Okay, so let's take off the sweep. Okay, now we're listening to it. We're watching this meter and the frequency up on the counter here. Seems just fine. Well, maybe it was an effect of me feeding into that shortwave wire and not having the radio on shortwave. And that's all it was. That would mean this is tuned up just fine. So we'll put in the sweep now. You can see it on the scope. And we know it's at 455 already. Yeah, right there, 455. Okay, what we'll do, we'll feed the signal into the antenna again. Come on out of there. Get a bigger response. Now yeah, so we've got this guy cranked up here. Pretty good. Got this guy also cranked up. Let's try this. Flip the radio into the other band and see if it is much stronger, which is what I think is going to happen. And look can you see there's another bump here again? So when I've moved to the antenna connection, I've got this bump. Okay, so we'll flip it now. Yeah. There you are. It just goes away. That's really not what I was expecting at all. I was expecting quite the opposite. Okay, we'll give a little more signal. So the kink is gone. And I think if we take out the sweep, and I turn this back up, still seems very, very weak to me. But then, you know, I'm in the middle of a test here, so it's not. I'm not really calibrated. Well, I don't think there's anything more I can do with the IF, at least not right now. I've convinced myself it's tuned properly, and whatever the funny stuff was is incidental, I think. Okay, so we go on to the next stages here. So I think in the next stage, so we've done A and B. C. Well, C what? C where? Where's C showing up? Is there something missing here? I don't have a diagram. Adjust for maximum output. C. When aligning the shortwave oscillator trimmer, C, be sure the circuit is aligned to the correct frequency and not the image frequency. Okay, so we're going to do that using a different technique from what they're going to suggest, because I have a modern opportunity here in my SDR to see the actual frequency of a local oscillator. So what we're going to do is we're going to tune the radio, let's say to 8. That'd be 8 megahertz. Okay, that's right on 8. Nothing precise about this anyway. This radio hasn't got a precise dial or anything like that. So next, I'm going to get off the IF frequency and go up to 8 megahertz. So we are hooked up to the antenna just as we should be. 8 megahertz. You listening for it? Let me turn it up a bit. Ooh-ha! Okay, that's receiving quite well. That was a very strong signal on my signal generator. For a shortwave radio, this should be a fairly receivable signal here. There it is. 8.2, 8.3 really. Let's go way down, about a million. We hear nothing. Back up to 8, now we're going up. About a million, so 9.2. Do we hear it? Barely. So I'm pretty sure this is the proper. That's the proper. They don't actually say whether the local oscillator is above or below the target frequency, the tune frequency. But they do give a method. To be sure that the circuit is aligned at the correct frequency and not the image frequency, which is 910 kilohertz lower. Image frequency is 910 kilohertz lower, as indicated by the receiver dial. To check, tune in the generator frequency, then increase the generator output, and then tune in the image frequency. The image frequency should be weaker than the fundamental. Okay, so we can do that. So we are going to turn this up, and then we're going to tune down 910 down and see if we pick it up again. That doesn't seem like 900, does it? There it is. Strength is indicated on the meter here. Okay, so it's getting up around 3. Okay, then we go back up to the real signal, what we think is the real one. It's much louder. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can be fairly reassured. Now, it is possible in a radio that's been aligned incorrectly that this test would actually come out backwards, so to speak. That's not a good way to speak. You could be fooled if it's been aligned incorrectly. But I don't think that's the case. So what we need to do is make this tune in 8 at 8. So we are on 8 megahertz on the dial, and we see that. Now would be a good time to use the SDR. Be a good time to go get a cup of coffee too, and we'll use the SDR to figure out the local oscillator frequency here. Okay, down in the bottom right corner you can see my SDR with a huge signal sitting on it. I'm just going to tune the radio a little bit, and there it goes. Back it comes. Okay, I'm going to put this back on 8. I'm looking at the dial here. So I would say that's radio's tuned right onto 8 megahertz. Now the local oscillator should be 455 away from 8. So it should be at 845. So I'm going to set the red tuning line to 8450. 455, which would be right around here. 455. So this is where the local oscillator should be right now, but instead it's over here. So we need to move it to where the red line is down here. And we're going to do that with the oscillator adjustment, which is adjustment number C, which I've got buried the way I've got the radio set up here. It's inaccessible. Okay, there's not too much stopping me from laying the radio flat. Let's do that. Okay, put this over here. This is the pickup coil for the SDR. In case you're wondering how this is done. It's done very easily. There's a very strong local oscillator signal coming out of these radios, easily picked up. Okay, I'm going to disconnect this temporarily, get it out of the way. And something else just disconnected. What was that? That's the scope ground. Oops, that's another one I'm disconnecting. I don't really care about these right now. But okay, I'm going to lay the radio down. Once again, I'm just such a chicken. I've got to turn it off. At least if it's turned off and I do manage to get a shock, it's going to be a short duration thing. Better chance of living. Okay. We'll hook the signal generator back up, which we don't really need, but we'll need it. We'll maybe need it. Now, which one is the oscillator adjustment I'm interested in? I think it's these two down here. Let me just take a peek on the schematic here. Okay, losing track of what I'm doing. So the adjustments are for C, 6B, 6A, 7. What about the letter C? Oh, for crying out loud. They're not revealing it here. And didn't I see there's an adjustment? Adjustment through here. And there's 3 trimmers in this radio. Ay, 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 ay. One of them is right on the local oscillator capacitor. So they're telling you on shortwave, do the oscillator, and then on shortwave, do the antenna adjustment. And then go back to broadcast and do E and F. C, D, E, and F. That's 4 of them. I only know of 3 of them. Where's the 4th one? Where's the 4th one? Uh-oh, here comes a cat. Yes, what's the problem? I want to go outside. Okay, I gotta look for more diagrams here or something. Okay, couldn't find any more information to go on. So we do have 4 adjustments here. 2 down here, 1 right on the oscillator part of the tuning capacitor, and then there's 1 back here on the antenna I'd forgotten about. So pretty clear, the 1 back here is for tuning the loop antenna. And the 1 that's on here, you can think of it as the master oscillator control, because it's right on the tuning capacitor. This one's got to be done first before the other. And what they're showing here in the instructions is to do the oscillator, they're calling it C. I think this is C. We'll do that first. And then what's going on with this radio here? How come we're not, oh, I've got the off-beat coil out of place. So we want to put the coil in where it'll pick up the local oscillator signal. You can see it there, but at the same time not influence anything. What if I stick it down in this area here? Don't let anything ground out. There we are. So I want to get that to the red line on the SDR. Now, and I want to do it with this. And we're going to try with a metal screwdriver and see what happens here. So I'm looking on the SDR to see how much the local oscillator is wandering. It hardly moved, so the screwdriver is okay. Let's move this oscillator. Wrong way. Oh, it's really tightening up. Oh my gosh, it's just tightened up like a... wow, that is really, really tight. Is it possible the other oscillator adjustment for broadcast is affecting this? Good question. Where I banged the radio, it's no longer tuned on 8. It's not quite on 8. That's 8. Well, that got us a little closer. Let's put this on like this. So now it's lined up. Now we can cheat the pointer. So now that we, oh, is the pointer set correct? I didn't do number 1. There's no instruction on this. The pointer itself can be off. So the very, very first thing is to make sure the pointer's not off. How do we do that with no instructions? Well, we can guess it's supposed to go level. Looks like it's going a little low here. Let's go the other way. It's not quite level. Now another thing, we look for any kind of marks or indications on here of starting points. Sometimes they'll put special marks on it. It doesn't look like it though. Okay, so now this could be keyed in or not. Usually they're not. So let's see, can we just turn this a little bit? Yeah, we can. Okay, so that's now, I'm making an assumption here that that is the way it should be. It's almost level. And that's right on level. Well, that's pretty darn close. Stick it back to 8. Here, get it right on the 8 mark. Right there. How are we now? Oh, look where we are now. We're on the other side. Okay, that helped. We're going to back this screw off, which I cranked down so tight I can't even do it with this screwdriver. Get a bigger one. That puts a local oscillator at 8,455 when the radio is tuned to 8. Perfect. That's good. Now what we want to do is have a signal received by the radio show up on this meter, and then we do the next adjustment, which I have to guess at again. Well, it won't be the one on the antenna. It's going to be one of these two. And if I boob up, it doesn't really matter because I'll catch up on the next step. So it says here I put a 400 ohm dummy resistor in the antenna line, and I did. I put it right there. By the way, so they're saying do this. I think they're recommending doing this way up at the top at 15, and I'm only at 8. Right now. Let's stick with 8 where we are, and we'll check it later. So what I want to do now is tune the signal generator to 8 and see that meter go up when I get to 8. I'm going to turn down the signal strength here. Okay, down to 8. Watching the meter now. It didn't go anywhere. Is it still connected? Am I still connected? Barely connected here. Well, we didn't see anything happen on the signal generator. Why would that be? Why would that be? Why would that be? Too low a signal. Try it again, watching this meter. And I tuned past it so fast. There we are. We see 7993. So it's very, very close, and considering, you know, the kind of pointer on this radio, I mean, there's nothing accurate about that pointer. So that's good enough. That's pretty good. That's good. Now we want to make this go up by making the next adjustment, which I believe is one of these two. Can we figure out which one it might be? Doesn't look like it. Again, if I make a mistake here, I can catch up. I need to use a bigger screwdriver. Is it this one? I don't see any change. Is it this one? Yes, it is this one. Okay, so we'll adjust this for a peak. It just wants to go all the way open. That's usually a sign of something not being adjusted quite in the middle. I'm going to leave it about like that. We got a little more out of it. Okay, could be wrong about what I just did. Local oscillator still close. I'm looking at the SDR. It's a fraction off, but not enough to worry about. Okay, I think we're good here. It's time to go on to the next band. Right. I'm not following the instructions exactly. Now we go to 1400. 1400. Okay, I'm just making sure it's right on. 1400. First thing we'll check is it responding to 1400. Let's just turn it up a little bit. Oh, look at that. It's way off. 1300. That's quite a ways off. So now we want to adjust the oscillator. Now I think it must be by elimination. It has to be this one. Let's get the right frequency on the SDR here. Just turn that down a bit. Okay, SDR. Okay. So here's the broadcast band. We're tuned to 1400, so the local oscillator should be 1855. So we'll set this to 1855. So the red line is where the local oscillator should be. See, it's here, and it should be here. Okay, now we'll do a little sensitivity study. Is this the oscillator? So I'm looking for the line to get shaky. It is getting a little bit shaky. What about this other one? Has no effect. I'm looking at the waterfall line to recognize any shift in frequency in the local oscillator by looking at that. That's the guy. That's got to be the guy. Okay. I'm going to use this to shift the local oscillator onto the red line. Whoops. My hand among all these wires is not particularly comfortable. Okay, there we go. Shift her down there. Okay. So it never says go back because later changes can affect the earlier settings. It doesn't say that in the instructions, so conceivably we have reached the end of the boat, except for the loop adjustment, the loop tuning, which I think would be the last one. How are we going to do that? We're going to want to radiate into the loop or tune the station. We pick the tune the station method. I would take away all this stuff, except maybe I still need it. So I'm going to leave it there. Go way down here. See if we can find a station. It's too bad about the interference. Oh, I know it. Well, I don't know what that is. Nope, not that. That's a little new. Can't say I've heard that pulsing thing before. Okay. Let me disconnect this. Difference. What is that? It's coming! The interference is terrible. Okay, do something a little bit different here. I'm going to tune off here. So I think, oh, there's a quiet spot. You see the meter going up? It's actually a powerful signal on the radio right now. So we want that needle down low. Low. There's a spot. Okay, now we're going to send in a signal from the signal generator. We're around 7 megahertz here. Okay. This is tuned on really well. Now we're going to try to tune the capacitor on the back of the antenna. I can't even see it here. I want to rotate the radio now with all these wires. Okay. Watching the meter. Went up a little bit as I just opened it all the way. Closing it down. And then open it back up. There we've got it. So this would be the radio's performance right here. This is what it's going to do here in my shop. Let's check it out. I should take off all the stuff. Take off all the stuff. I've got to shut the radio off to do it. So here. Okay, I'm going to lift this up and pull off these guys here. Oh, oh my gosh, that was kind of bad. Oh boy, like amazing it didn't see a big spark there. Okay, this guy off. I knocked those capacitors, those charged capacitors, right out of their position. Yeah, that's a good move. I just stick my finger in there and push them back. Okay, Maybe they're discharged now. There we go. Okay. Now there's nothing hooked up to this radio. No external antenna. No signal generators. No oscilloscope. No. Nothing is hooked up to it. It's all by its lonesome. But here in my shop, this is really a crummy place to test radios. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. SDR doesn't mean anything right now. Lots of volume. Start with a station we know. Station we know should be right here. There it is. It's just the interference is just terrible. Nope, none of that. Don't know where it comes from. Now, most good radios can get about 5 stations in here. Let's see if we can get any more. That's good. That's 680. Fire's burning out west. Oh, I can get rid of that interference there. Who knows? I don't know. Let's go. There's a station, 710. That's pretty good. How about that French guy? Come on, je parle français. Nope, not going to do it. Okay, that's not so bad. It's a little better than it was when I started. just a little better after all that. It's just a little better. How about on the shortwave side of things? We can give that a try. Let's go over there. I'm going to hook up the antenna. Turn it up. This antenna is actually not connected to an outdoor antenna. It's just the antenna lead. It's actually not really an antenna at all. Okay, so I'm going to go and flip the switch to turn this antenna on. Maybe it'll come up in strength. Just take me a second. Okay, so eyes out of the room, so I don't really know for sure, but it sounds like it's better. And we have a ground connection we can try. That's pretty good. That'd be 9.33. It's way off. It's way off on here. It appears to be off by about 900, which would be something to do with how I did the alignment. Okay, so that was the image we were listening to. This is the real signal now. Much stronger. That's what's happening. So these radios cannot suppress images very well at all. This is a very strong signal though, so the fact that we could pick up his image. Lovely. Tune very slowly or go right past the stations, but there won't be any others, I don't think, down here. We're going to head up towards 11. European band. This is slipping. '15 kind of faded out. And see how strong that one station is. And for no good reason we'll go down. Image. So little radios like this with a band that goes all the way from 6 megahertz up to 15 megahertz with an IF frequency of 450, low IF frequency, is going to have image problems. You can't resolve them with a little radio like this. Very good though. I think that's good. I think that's good. I think I'm all done. Except I'm left with this cabinet to it's worth putting some effort into this cabinet now. It won't take much. It's just basically furniture polish on dried up areas like this. They'll look a lot better. May not be much more than just cleaning it up really good and then putting a little furniture polish on it. I just have to darken this damaged area a little bit. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Great, but that's it for today. For the video here, I'll do this cabinet on my own time, my free time. So, thanks a lot for watching the process I went through to get this radio operating. I think we got a rather unexciting improvement in its performance after doing all that work, but nevertheless it's in good shape now, and dial's accurate and the like. Very good. So thanks again, thanks a lot for watching, and thanks a lot if you're clicking the like button, and thank you very much for the super thanks.